Hi, friends. I had thought to keep the ball rolling in filming 6-look videos using Pat McGrath palettes, specifically the ones that are my personal favorites. I kicked it off with Midnight Sun, my beloved Mothership 6, followed up with Moonlit Seduction because that palette is just insanely beautiful. And when trying to comprehend my thoughts about it, why I think it is absolutely gorgeous, I had first said that Moonlit Seduction Mothership 10 gave me fairy tale vibes. It was giving me Cinderella-esque kind of a thing. But then I realized when filming the footage that Moonlit Seduction for me is like cosmic glam times 10 in terms of like the silvers, even though with the plum and rose mattes in there, the duochromes with the icy blue. But there was one comment that pulled all my thoughts that were still in the ether about Huetopian Dream. Drew in Moonlit Seduction as well, but led to her point explaining why Huetopian Dream is the way she thinks it is. Initially, my comment was, I pinned it under my Moonlit Seduction video, that I initially said that it was giving me Cinderella, but I felt this was like moon glam. Dolce Suono 9. Huetopian Dream is totally a mood and I love it for that. It may be an odd comparison, but it makes me think of an amped up high-end version of ColourPop Sailor Moon palette, which is still available by the way. Then Moonlit Seduction is like vibes a la the Moon Kingdom or Crystal Tokyo. Dolce, this is why I love this platform, because who else am I going to share these thoughts with about eyeshadow and understand them? That is exactly what Huetopian Dream is for me as well. I couldn't comprehend, I couldn't grasp it, and why I downplayed Huetopian Dream a lot. I don't think I rated highly on my top 5 or even my top 10. I have to look back. I completely forgot. Now that she said Sailor Moon, there's one post I'll never forget that's still on Pat McGrath's feed, but I had to Google it because I think it's like way back, and it is August 20th, 2020, where she posted this reel of Usagi in the bathtub, and just the way the illustration, it's a reel, so it's kind of like moving in terms of the sunset and everything. Just this whole 90s anime aesthetic vibe. She's outside with her moon crystal wand in the tub. You got the lilac colors, the reds, the pinks, the Tokyo skyline. It is absolutely perfect. And then when I thought about Huetopian Dream, this is exactly the aesthetic I think I was trying myself to understand. There's something about Mothership 9 that I really love, but I don't know what it is. The colors there, yes, the textures, although Mothership 9 Huetopian Dream does not have the bake shades, it does have lovely Astral ones, and Blitz Xtreme is a beautiful formula, it's a melted metallic one. Yes, we're not getting the Blitz moments we last found in Midnight Sun and before, but the color story is so Sailor Moon. It is so Sailor Moon. And being an anime fan like myself and growing up on Sailor Moon and still being a fan of anime 90s aesthetic in terms of the cityscape, the sunsets, the beaches, all that in the color palette, in the mood, in the vibe, I think is beautifully captured here in Huetopian Dream. And that is what I think brought me full force into appreciating this palette more. The reason why I love Midnight Sun is because I connected to the inspo. The reason why I love Moonlit Seduction, again, connected to the moon crystal vibe inspo. And now that Dolce had laid out what she thought Huetopian Dream was to her inspiration wise, nailed it for me. Thank you so much for sharing that, Dolce. I so appreciate it, because now that prompted me to come back on here, film with Huetopian Dream, get some 6 looks going, all right? If you have Mothership 9, you have been using her, maybe it's already your favorite. You're like, about time you realized, Alicia. Get on it. Happy to be back on. Dive in Huetopian Dream. And with that said, it's time for you to come in a little closer. That's enough. I have Suqqu's foundation on and Suqqu blush on with a little bit, what did I put on? I applied 128 all over. I just think it's lovely. And I thought it would have paired well with Huetopian Dream. I could throw on some Shockwave as well as blush. Let me do that now, or I'll do it at the end. Let's also use Suqqu's eye primer because I wanted to give as much opportunity to this product as possible. I probably already would have my Suqqu video up by now. I'll post it up a card above and down below in a link. And I wanted to give the Suqqu eye primer more opportunity to show its thing. And for me to, you know, kind of get an idea about it, how I feel about it, I have Mother's Artistry Wand on standby. I think a crucial step in ensuring these Astral shades stay on the lids. And I also have the Luna blush. I thought I had the Sailor Moon palette. I might have given it away. I have not used this yet. It's still fresh. You know, I guess I would consider this a collector's item, which is silly. It's makeup, but I do enjoy the flap, or what is this called, the compact 3D change. I think that is so clever. But you know, something pinky coral I think on the cheeks would do well with Huetopian Dream. And now that we have the Sailor Moon inspo going on, is done. I'm done, fully in here. So with Huetopian Dream, you could keep this pretty chill. You just have to ignore the fact that the Astral shades are on one in this palette. Astral Venusian Orchid and Astral Amethyst Moon. There's the moon again. They got a lot of texture going on, but if you're conservative with your application, it should be fine. Here we have Bronze Solaris 005, Blitz Xtreme, which again, not baked, but quite smooth on the lids. For the mattes, Secret Eden, which actually shows up a little more rosy on the skin than it appears in pan. And Xtreme Plum Noir. That, I guess, was my gripe with Huetopian Dream. There wasn't much depth from Plum Noir. It is more of like a medium shade on my skin tone, and I actually have to rely on Blitz Xtreme for a little more depth because the flip is like a green maroon type of a gig, and if placed on the outer corner, it could provide a little bit of smoke. Slap it on the entire lid and it'll be your smoky eye, heavily relying on the shade itself to create that effect. And then you got Shockwave that adds really nice coral vibrancy fast, right? It's going to brighten up the eyes. So if you wanted to keep it more subdued, you will stick with Secret Eden and this one here, Bronze Desire. So let's start with that. I'll throw in Secret Eden first through the crease just so you can see it in action. And I do have a video dedicated to Huetopian Dream. And I might repeat myself here, but it's quite all right. I haven't used this palette in quite some time. It's nice to revisit it now with a new perspective in terms of connecting it to Sailor Moon inspiration, because if you type in Sailor Moon, you'll get so many illustrations about the different Sailor Scouts, but what I think is one of the more beautiful illustrations is the palace on the moon, because she's Sailor Moon, and just the overall landscape found in the manga and in the anime. So I think it truly brings this color story to life for me. And again, here's Secret Eden. It's not as warm, but I actually quite like it because again, it looks pretty cool toned in the pan, but on me, it's more neutral rose, which I really like here as a first crease color. And now we'll go in with our trusty jumbo blender, throw on some Bronze Desire. Bronze Desire is a metallic shade. You don't necessarily need the artistry wand, but you most certainly can use it if you wish to have more adherence here. But the color is absolutely gorgeous. I think this bronzy shade, it's more of a rich bronze copper, not heavy on the copper side, definitely more heavy on the bronzy side. But I do love how it appears as a one and done moment. And of course, Mother's metallic formula is quite smooth, enough so where you don't actually have to go in with a matte first like we did. You could solely rely on the texture itself to feather it higher through the crease, and it won't look spotchy or uneven. But you're more than welcome to take a brush through the edges here just to kind of fluff it out a little bit. And of course, always have your concealer brush on standby for any cleanup. I think I'll follow up with Bronze Desire on the lower lash line. I quite like this shade to be here just to complete what we have going on the lid. And you can bring in Secret Eden, right, if you want it to appear extra hazy. I'll use Sonia's mini booster to have a little bit of control on the application. You definitely can make this a lot more hazy, right, by using a bigger brush. But even with this, I think it's enough to bring the color down just where it creates that smoky haze. Isn't that lovely? I think that's beautiful. Now, if you were looking at Shockwave and you're like, where can I possibly place this shade? Well, you can consider bringing Shockwave here on the inner part of the eye. This will bring in a little bit of vibrancy. As you see, it definitely shifts the mood of the look and makes it less overall smoky and has a little bit of color there. Now, if you wanted to bump up Bronze Desire, you most certainly could go in one of the Astral shades. And the way to do that, don't apply the artistry wand unless you want it to completely appear opaque. So we'll take a tap of Venusian Orchid and just place it here on the center. The flip is like a lilac teal. It has beautiful sparkle, and again, you don't need a ton. You just need a little bit if you wanted to bring that lid forward. My gosh, that is incredible. I have my brush here on standby because we do have a little bit of fallout, but you know what? Your under eyes will sparkle too. It's okay. What I will do is now have the artistry wand set up the inner corner. We can use our Skin Show Nude Ecstasy shimmer, which is found here at the end of the palette, but I want to go in with Astral Moon. I think that would be lovely to have as our inner corner moment. Definitely a great opportunity to invite another shade, or if you are uncomfortable wearing these astral textures on the lid, you can have them here on the inner corner, inner lower lash line, and bring it in as much as you like. I actually would like to bring in the Astral Moon shade onto the inner arc of the eye. I think that's a nice place to have it. You could also trail it more so here on the lower lash line. So you see how we started quite chill. If you just kept it with Secret Eden, Bronze Desire, maybe the Skin Show shade instead of the Astral one here on the inner corner, a beautiful, smoky, simple eye. But you have the opportunity to amp it up, as you see. That is easy to build, right, with this setup. So here's what we can do. We could go in with Cosmic Bloom and make this eye that was potentially a little more smoky, a little more corally, right? So we could start from the flip side, Cosmic Bloom first, which is a lovely pink coral type of a metallic. Actually, it reminds me of Cosmic, that shade from the original 6-pan Star Wars palette, then found in Celestial Odyssey, the holiday palette from 2020. It has almost like this fiery neon look to it. It's super pink. Using our jumbo blender to punch on the shade first in this arc manner, mostly keeping the application in under the crease, as I would like to now float Shockwave through the crease with my Blender Pro. You could also go in with Secret Eden, but if you wanted to keep this more like hot pink, I think this is a great pairing. Carefully pulling that matte through the crease is going to pick up some of the metallic texture, right? So you could go in with the matte first and then with Cosmic Bloom after, if you like, gently pulling it out here from the corner, right? So look at that, just so different in feel overall. Cosmic Bloom on the lower lash line. I'm pulling it in and out just so you could go bloop, bloop, bloop. And I'll also mimic the same thing I did on this side, placing Secret Eden on the lower lash line, but instead I will float Shockwave here on the lower lash line under Cosmic Bloom to completely envelop the eye in this hot coral matte. And that definitely is a lot more vibrant. This I felt without the addition of the Astral Moon shade, the Astral Amethyst, and Venusian Orchid shade. This is quite daily friendly in my opinion. If you wanted to pull in the fun shades, sure, but without the Astral shades, this is quite daily friendly. This is a little party time. It's a little party time, but it's, you know, it's totally fine. I don't mind it at all. Astral wand on the inner corner, and I think we could try Bronze Solaris, or we could do the Venusian Orchid shade. Oh God, falling. And using a flat shader brush here, carefully pressing where we applied that archery wand texture, right? We don't want to fluff, we want to press so the particles can stay put. And then pull it here in that arc. That is so shiny, my goodness. It is just insane. And just spreading Cosmic Bloom a little bit here through the crease and taking out Shockwave a little bit more past the lash line. There we go. If you wanted a little bit of Secret Eden here, and because this is an eyeshadow and it packs quite a punch, I'm taking a Squirrel Blend brush so it won't apply as much color but just enough. And the brush head size, practical in the sense where it fits perfectly into the shadow pan. So there's that as well. I'll pull a little bit here across the nose. And I keep forgetting to mention this. These Mothership palettes are artistry ones. You can wear these textures anywhere on the face where you feel appropriate. Yeah, which is why technically we can go in with our skin show shade on the cheekbones. So just tapping here very lightly to add some highlight. And this is more of like a shimmer type of a deal. You know, if you wanted to keep it in the palette, but you're more than welcome to use your favorite highlighter. If anything, I would have applied the balm side of the duo stick first and then the skin show shade afterwards, but this works. This works. Eyes 1 and 2 are complete. Let's put on some lashes and I'll be right back. Here is round 1, diving in to the matte and metallic shades as well as the Astral ones. And you can see how immediately the look can be switched from low-key subdued to turned up Sailor Moon twinkle crystal moon status. And that's what I love about Huetopian Dream and what I should appreciate about it more. That there is that like boom rocket dial I think that exists in the palette. More so than Midnight Sun 100%, because Midnight Sun only has Astral Solstice. That's our Fairy Dust Disco Ball shade where you could throw it on any of the different colors found in Mothership 6 to provide that twinkle sun hits the water effect, right? That reflectivity we all love. Huetopian Dream with the lilac finish, that's actually I think a little more potent in terms of the color than Moonlit Seduction. That is more of like a more like a lighter lilac shade that's hard to detect the amethyst color. The Astral Amethyst Moon is a little more impactful in terms of the shade, right? You could clearly see there's some going on, whether it's just the inner corner or you decide to slap it on the entire eyelid. You could keep it bronzy rose or you could get it pinky coral, right? So you got a lot of wiggle room here in Huetopian Dream. And the fact that you can use a lot of these shades for blush, right? Perhaps that is a limitation. Well, you know, you can use Vermilion Venom for blush in Midnight Sun. It's gonna be red. It's gonna be red. It's gonna be brick red. Just make sure you use the appropriate blush. But just so you can see, Shockwave can give tremendous color here on the center of the face. You know what I'm saying? It brightens up the complexion. It meshes well with the eyes depending on where you go color-wise on the lids. But look, Sailor Moon! Now that we have round 1 out of the way, let's go in with experimenting, dusting, tapping the Astral shades over an all matte eye. How that translates, what we can do with it, and yeah, see how it goes. So let's start from the top. I'm gonna wipe this off and I'll be right back. One quick observation about the Suqqu eye primer is something obvious I should have mentioned in my Suqqu video, but the fact that it is a translucent type of a product, and if you are battling uneven skin tone on your lids, especially like myself now when removing shadow, it won't present a cleaner canvas. So I might have to go in with a concealer on the last demo, but it's okay for now. It's okay for now. I want to throw on some Xtreme Plum Noir just from the get, because I'm thinking about tossing on Astral Amethyst Moon all over the lid. And oh boy, this primer, it primes. I should have waited until it set a little bit more. That's probably another thing. You can't go blending and applying right away. You kind of have to wait, but that definitely brings out a little more depth from Plum Noir. Here we are. Gotta fix that a little bit. Actually, let me grab a softer brush. We love our Blender Pro, but I need a little more, a feather light touch to just refine the edges of this blend. Where is, hello? You know what? Let me use my detail here. There we go. I'm gonna knock around that a little bit, go back with my Blender Pro, and then just refine the outer lid here. Now that we have a sketch. Yes. Oh, that's pretty. And while we're here, I think I'll also, let's see, I want to pull down the plum shade and start carving out this bracket, right? So it can envelop the edges of my outer lid, but at the same time, don't want to make it look so round. I always have trouble with this side. This is the side, the cursed side, because I feel I always blend out too low. That's better. It's better. Better. Okay, Astral Amethyst Moon, this shade here, tappity tap. I don't want to use the artistry wand because I would like Astral Moon to appear more translucent. And you can see now that I've applied it on top of the plum shade, it's kind of giving you icy blue a little bit. Isn't that interesting? But I think fun. You know what I mean? Depending on which color you apply the astral shades on, it will shift. And I think that kind of gives you more combinations to work with. You know what I mean? Taking our flat shader and being a little more precise here. You could have it where it kind of like scatters up. I think that's a nice effect considering, you know, the texture of the shadow and how it naturally presents itself when applied in such a manner. But, you know, whoa. And also the flip, I think, meshes quite nicely. You can't, maybe you could see it there on camera, see the blue, but when I turn, it kind of matches the Plum Noir shade a little bit. Inner corner, well, you know what? Let's use our skin show shade because it's giving a lot right now on the lid. So we'll talk, oh my God. If that Bioderma was open, don't even want to think about it. Skin show shade here. That's a nice touch, but we could go in with Bronze Solaris on the lower inner lash line. Why not? That's gonna be like bronzy gold, all right? Definitely use a small brush like we did during our first round here. You wanna press and make sure these flaky achies adhere well to the artistry wand stick. You know what I mean? You don't want to swipe and fluff around. There we go. And you can also trail this over Xtreme Plum Noir a little bit just so it could be, there's more fluidity there. I'm still trying to fix this blend here. I know it's because I should have waited for the primer to set. I could also, this is something, a trick that I keep forgetting to rely on, is to use like a pressed or loose powder in order to refine a blend, to soften it up without necessarily going in with more shadow. And I'm actually using the Suqqu 20th Anniversary Face Compact Powder. It has a little bit of pearl in there, but it's not going to make this part of the shadow look overly sparkly. It's just, I think, going to soften it a little bit. I like that. That's pretty. Okay, All right, Blitz Xtreme, maybe. Blitz Xtreme is probably one of the most simplest eyes you can do. Again, with Jumbo Blender all over the lid. And I won't go in with the matte right away. I'll show you that this texture is quite easy to manipulate, especially if you have a brush like the Jumbo Blender. I consider this, or I categorize it as a fluffy shader, where the flat sides of the brush pick up product quite nicely, but the tip is fluffy enough where it can move shadow well across the skin without actually moving the skin itself, thus leaving behind a smooth blend. And you can see just how nice that looks through the crease. It delivers a natural gradient of color just based on the color itself, since it's a duochrome. And it has more of a burnished finish. It's not going to have the same shine and sparkle like the Astral shades. And it's cool. It's fine. Let's pull Blitz Xtreme here on the lower lash line. I think this is a nice touch. And then you could be done. Look at that. I think that is absolutely gorgeous. One of the easiest eyes you can accomplish with using Huetopian Dream. However, if you wanted to make this smokier, go on with Plum Noir, or we could use Secret Eden. Secret Eden, I think, will be a nice touch. You know what I mean? You know what? Let's go with Extreme Plum Noir. We gotta fully commit. And this time, lightly, right? Not in the same manner that we did here. This is, you know, smoking it up. If Extreme Plum Noir is the first matte you decide to go in with, I think this meshes well, 100%. And we can follow suit in the same manner for our lower lash line. Pull it here, nice and softly, under Alicia, make sure you connect to the top, okay? Don't go crazy. You gotta do this, young lady. You gotta go like this. There we go. That is totally a look, however. You wanted the like double line Cleopatra style shadow, whatever, fine. Do what you like to do. Inner corner, I want to do Cosmic Bloom. Cosmic Bloom, I think, will be a lovely choice on the inner lid. Not necessarily the inner corner. We can still layer something totally different on the inner corner, but the inner lid, yes. This is a valid separate point from inner corner. If you wanted to apply another shade altogether, use the inner part of your eye as a different platform. And Cosmic Bloom combined with Blitz Xtreme, I think is so lovely. It has like that neon flash of pink. And then of course we could go in with Amethyst Moon on the inner corner for sure. Or the Venetian Orchid. How about Venetian Orchid? Yes. It has like a teal flip to it. Almost like in the rose, not the rose quartz, the ritualistic rose. Rose quartz is a shade in ritualistic rose, where we had our Astral quads. Oh, was that a great holiday release? I believe that was 2019, and I don't know if we'll ever see those again. So if you got it, you better cherish that. All right, Venetian Orchid here on the inner corner. We love placing some as well on the lower inner part of the eye. Okay. I still have leftover Shockwave from our first demo, and still I think I have enough highlighter to carry us through the second. All right, so let's slap onto these lashes and to see the final look. I'll be right back. Round 2, throwing on Astral Amethyst Moon all over the lid on top of Plum Extreme. I can't even remember, but Extreme Plum Noir. I think it was a great move. You could clearly see the influence these Astral shades have when layered on to other colors, and the fact you just have room to play with Huetopian Dream while at the same time being grounded. I consider Blitz Xtreme, despite it being a duochrome, to be like a neutral. It's a neutral moment in this palette, as well as Bronze Desire, Secret Eden, Plum Noir. These shades are getting into the color side of things in Huetopian Dream. And then when you get here, this trio, forget it. You are in the glitzy land of boom. But now fully realizing the color story, the inspo behind it, what I consider to be great inspo, it all makes sense. And I think Huetopian Dream is a lot of fun, despite, yes, the Astral shades here have a lot of texture. They're drier. I think you have to be careful in how much you apply. Will probably be beneficial to do your eyes first and eye makeup after, but it doesn't have to be that serious, right? If you wanted some astral moments, just lightly tap, maybe use the astral wand, or excuse me, the artistry wand. I keep calling everything astral. If you have your favorite primer that has stickiness adherence, you could place it here on the inner corner or wherever you apply the astral shade on for better stick and longevity. Still though, it's fun. It is a lot of fun. And look, my gosh, we got a lot of smoke from Xtreme Plum Noir, so sure, you might have a stickier primer or something with a little more tack, and that will definitely bring more depth from that map forward. So I think when going into the third round, we could throw on Bronze Solaris on the lid, see what we could get there, and yeah, I'm excited. Let's wipe this off and I'll see you back here in a minute. I applied a little bit of concealer on the lids because this, you know, with the removing, you know, fam, you know. Let's start with Shockwave. I'm thinking, well, you know what? Let me first throw on Secret Eden. We'll start lightly here through the crease, and I would like to bring in Shockwave on the lower part of the crease and just dust that on, because the gradient between the coral and the rose, I think a lovely pair. And you can dial down the intensity of Shockwave by applying Secret Eden. That calms it down a little bit. But if you want to go full force, then Shockwave all the way. I'm actually mixing the two and pulling it here on the outer lower edge. Let's stop there because we'll apply the artistry wand. And I think I want to go in with Bronze Solaris. It's going to be quite a moment. For lid application and astral shades or number shades, what have you, I go in with a finger first for the majority of the lid, and then we'll follow up with the shader for more precise application. And that is here in and under the crease. I like to just gently carve this out, have it appear a little neater. And the gold with the coral, my gosh, this is summertime eye. This is more of a summertime eye, not a combination I would do often, but it's fine. And just to, let's see if we can mimic, or as I was speaking about, inviting more shading and smokiness by applying Blitz Xtreme, we can see how that potentially could work. You know what? I'm gonna be smarter and use my T7, my Chikuhodo Takumi T7. Let's pick up a little bit of Blitz Xtreme and lightly tap it on the outer edge here, overlapping Bronze Solaris. And I think this was a good idea, because see how that brought in a little more shading, especially if you turn, it kind of looks olive. And it works. I like it. You can definitely tap on Plum Noir instead, but you know, why not? Because the Blitz Xtreme is quite a lovely texture to work with, right? I'm just fluffing the edges here. Oh, you see, because of the duochrome, it looks burgundy here, but head on, it kind of looks a little khaki-ish olive. Wanding it up on the inner arcs, lower and upper. Let's see here. I want to do the Amethyst Moon. I gotta do the Amethyst Moon. We can't not, you know what I'm saying? This is such like a neon moment. This, I think, I can honestly say from all the actual shades found in Pat's portfolio, even including the ones found in the Astral Quads from Holiday 2019, Astral Amethyst Moon is one of the most beautiful because of the color, the impact. You're getting icy blue on like a purple, more like a magenta violet flip. It's just so lovely. It might be a little chunky, but it's okay. You just use your favorite primer. In this case, the artistry one, I think, works wonders with these types of textures, but my goodness. And to follow through with the lower lash line, I am thinking Bronze Desire. This is a lovely color and I think a fitting choice for adding a little more smoke to the lower lash line. We could have done Blitz Xtreme, but just to use another shade. You know what I mean? I just think it's so pretty. Ooh, I like this eye. I like this eye. Blending down a little bit of bronze Solaris, just a little bit, because I don't want it to travel too high. Yes. And then a little bit of Blitz Xtreme through the crease. I'm using a pencil brush on purpose. There we go. There we go. On the last eye, I think we gotta do Venusian all over. That's a good idea. We'll set it up first with Secret Eden. I know I already did Secret Eden on the leave me alone. I'm just gonna toss it all over, just in this more enveloped fashion, not as precisely through the crease, but getting some color on the lid as well. Oh gosh, I just kind of like ricocheted the brush and it. I don't know what happened there. Sorry. And actually, you know what? I'm thinking perhaps we could set up a halo eye. I'm dusting on some Xtreme Plum Noir, not only on the outer part of the lid, but we'll place some here on the inner, using my smaller shader brush on purpose to keep that color fairly low on the inside of my lid. And actually, I'll place more here on the outer lid because this brush size and density, I think, perfect to shape Xtreme Plum Noir. Yeah, there we go. There we go. My jumbo blender, what was I using? My Blender Pro. My Blender Pro is great for fluff and blend, but if you want more color payoff, a shader brush, I think, is the right choice, depending on what you wish to achieve. But for this, what we want to do right now, fam, okay, here we go. Artistry wand, Venusian Orchid, right in between. My goodness, the shine is incredible. Incredible. That is crazy. And it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much, as you see. I think the best way to apply this or to have it appear soft is to tap the edges with the matte color you placed it on, so it doesn't look so blocked out, right? To soften the borders a bit. There we go. Inner corner time. You know, we could do Cosmic Bloom, we could do the Skin Show shade. You know, let's give our Skin Show shade some love. I think it plays a role in just being a little more subdued. And I didn't need to apply the artistry wand because now it looks ultra super pearl, but that's okay. I'll soften this application, just kind of pull it up and invite a little more of our Plum Noir shade, because I didn't need to use the artistry wand for the Skin Show shade, but I was like contemplating applying an Astral one, and this is where it led us. Is fine. The lower inner corner though, I'm going over what we did, and I think Cosmic Bloom will be a nice touch to pull everything together. So I'll pick up my Refer 3, and then I'll pull this from inner through the center. I think will be good. And isn't that lovely? You just got this neon pink moment here on the lower inner lash line, and I'll pull Plum Noir deeper so it's covering more 3/4 of the lower lash line versus just a quarter, and then bring those two together. Ooh, that's pretty. You could do a wing liner for sure. I'm just trying to wrap this up because, yes, you guessed it, gotta cook dinner. So let's get these lashes on. I'll wrap up with my final thoughts, and I'll see you back here in a minute. And here is our final round using Huetopian Dream. This was a blast. I am happy to have dove back in, yes, grammar, into Huetopian Dream, giving it another shot and fully realizing its advantages, which it's the fast switch again from simple to wham bam Sailor Moon Moon Crystal vibes, right? I think some people might feel overwhelmed that they have to use the Astral shades each time they dip into Huetopian Dream, and that's not the case. Maybe that's why people feel more comfortable using Midnight Sun, because you just have the one Astral Solstice shade, and the other ones in there that are mostly earth tones can be cocktailed, I think, in a way that's more accessible, or people feel more comfortable doing so. Huetopian Dream, you have that coral, like you only got the neutrals here, and then you got the corals here, like the pinks and the corals, and then you got the wham bam, the duochrome, which I would consider more of a neutral compared to the other shades in here. The Amethyst shade, the Venusian Orchid, Bronze Solaris has beautiful like yellow gold brightness to it, so I can understand might be jarring to some, but if you're just a little more discreet with how you apply the Astral shades, they could add such nice twinkle and character to the eye. Amethyst, I think, is a lovely shade period, and just it can find harmony with the other colors in Huetopian Dream, and then connecting it to the Sailor Moon palette, for me it just makes it a blast to use, and it allows my imagination to just roll out and go nuts. So hopefully this tutorial helped, and if you have Huetopian Dream and you didn't quite know how to feel about it, you're like me, there's something about it that I like, I just can't pinpoint why, what was holding me back. Perhaps the Astral textures were holding me back in terms of how to incorporate them, that yes, they're flakier than others, but at the end of the day, when you nail the application, when you have the right tools, when you have a game plan, Huetopian Dream is exquisite, and I do think this has shifted the rankings in my top 5. I will have to revisit, I think I might have to redo that, or just re-rank my Mothership palettes now with the introduction of Sunless Deduction. I will see where all the Motherships now stand. I can honestly say without a doubt that the top 3, even with my newfound appreciation with Huetopian Dream, top 3 is Midnight Sun, Subversive, and Moonless Deduction. What happened to Divine Rose 2? I know. Divine Rose 2, I think also one of Pat's best. Might have to go back and revisit that list. But that's my top 3 right now is. Those are my top 3. We'll see what we can get to when I refilm that ranking video. I would love to know, fam. Please share your inspo concepts down below. I think it is so fun for us to exchange these ideas and what we think of certain palettes, what that brings to us creative-wise, image-wise. Like when we see subliminal or sublime, when we see decadence, what does it kind of cultivate in our minds in terms of inspiration and everything from texture and feel and vibe. I would love to know down below. I'll see you down in those comments, and until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you in here again with another review tutorial, Mothership 6-look extravaganza, or maybe ABH's fall romance. I have my eye on that as well. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.